Did you know that originally God wanted the firstborn sons of Israel to serve him as priests? But at one shocking instant, God replaced them with the Levites. Why only the Levites? What made them so special? And what happened to the Ark of the Covenant they carried? Let's dive in. God consecrated the firstborn in remembrance of the great deliverance from Egypt. On the night of the Passover, when the firstborn of Egypt was struck down, the firstborn of Israel was spared. From that moment, God declared that every firstborn male belonged to him. The Bible says in Exodus 13:2, "Consecrate to me every firstborn male, the first offspring of every womb among the Israelites belongs to me, whether human or animal." But something happened that changed this calling forever. When Moses was on Mount Sinai, the people grew restless. They demanded Aaron to make them a god to worship. Aaron took their gold and fashioned a golden calf, and Israel bowed down to it. When Moses came down from the mountain and saw this terrible sin, he threw down the tablets in anger. Then he cried out, "Whoever is for the Lord, come to me." Only the tribe of Levi came forward. They stood on God's side and carried out his judgment, striking down about 3,000 people, even their own relatives, because their loyalty to God came first. It was because of this faithfulness that God chose the Levites to replace the firstborn sons of every tribe. From that day forward, the Levites were set apart to serve God in the tabernacle and later in the temple. From then on, it was the Levites, not the firstborn, who were chosen as God's special servants. But remember, not all Levites were priests. Only Aaron and his sons were chosen to be priests, the ones who offered sacrifices and ministered directly before the Lord. The rest of the Levites had other holy duties. Types of Levites. The Levites were divided into three main groups, each with unique responsibilities. Gershonites carried the curtains and coverings of the tabernacle. Kohathites carried the sacred furniture, including the ark, but only after the priest had covered it. Merarites carried the frames, bases, and heavy parts of the tabernacle. And from Aaron's family came the priest, who offered sacrifices and served directly in God's presence. Levites carried the Ark of the Covenant throughout their 40 years of journey in the wilderness. Ark of the Covenant was rested at Shiloh when they reached their promised land. The ark represented God's presence and was at the very center of Israel's worship. From Shiloh, it was captured by the Philistines and eventually brought to Jerusalem by King David. Finally, Solomon placed it in the Holy of Holies when the temple was built. But here is the mystery. The ark was last mentioned during the reign of King Josiah in 2 Chronicles 35:3. When the Babylonians destroyed the temple in 586 BC, the ark disappeared from history. Where is it now? Some believe the prophet Jeremiah hid it in a cave, others think it was taken to Babylon or even Ethiopia, and some say it lies hidden under the Temple Mount. But the truth is, no one really knows. So, the history of Levites reminds us that God is looking for a people who will stand on his side, no matter the cost. The Levites chose faithfulness over compromise, and God honored them with a special calling. Even today, God is searching for those who will put him first, obey his word, and live set apart for his purposes. That's all for today's video.